Alat, the goddess of the Stone of Mecca, speaks. If you're here, you're meant to hear this message. We opened a portal live on TikTok called The Looking Glass. This is an alchemical art technique of covering a piece of paper with charcoal and allowing spirit to show us, like a portal, messages through symbology, numerology, geometry, gematria, planetary systems. Ascended masters, deceased loved ones often come through. And in this case for Kara, Alat, the goddess of the Stone of Mecca, has come forward to tell us the truth about the past and how it affects our present and how we need to behave in this current time. So let's look at this second piece that we did for Kara, and the stones above her head equals 8-7. And this 8-7 is significant because the Stone of Mecca has 15 pieces. 8 plus 7 is 15. And they put the pieces back together. 87 in Gematria reflects Mecca, hide egg. And it's the hidden egg. It's also known as the hidden egg. And the hidden egg is meaning a hidden message within the stone. And it also reflects Area 51, which may or may not be true, and Dalai Lama. According to Islamic tradition, the stone dates back to the time of Adam and Eve. The stone is a dark rock polished by millions of hands touching it. Muslims say that the stone was found by Abraham. It is also known as the cornerstone. Jesus often called himself the cornerstone. Now, I went on a big journey of finding the truth about this stone, and it took me to many different corners, from the idea of worshiping the stone to it coming from space or aliens. And when I look at the movie Avatar and this black shiny stone, it kind of gave me an energy of that this stone is quite special and significant. But it took me to a place of understanding that the stone was originally associated with a goddess, and this goddess of the stone was the goddess Alat. And they say that the stone had supernatural powers, and that it cleansed people of their sins, and it turned people from black to white, like from a black horse to a white horse, or a black dog to a white dog. And so the black stones reveal a pagan goddess worshiping roots of Islam. But we just have to understand the origin of the moon in order to understand the origin of this male and female tug of war. The god of the moon was named Sin, and the moon had androgynous beings there. They were both male and female. And so when we were sent to a world of duality, male and female, we had this tug of war of gods and goddesses. But the truth of the matter is we are androgynous, Adam and Eve. So Jesus' mother did not copulate with anyone. So it seems as if his mother was from the moon, Sin, and was androgynous. 6 fingers and 6 toes, and the number 12 gets significant. If we look at the symbologies of the stone sculptures and carvings of Alat, we get to some other answers as well. Alat is connected to Athena in the Greek equivalent. And this animal that's in front of Alat doesn't really look like a lion to me. It looks more like a dog or some other animal. And this is significant also as far as the sun goes. So we go from the moon to the sun. And shifting within ourselves from the moon to the sun is something that we are all on our journey of. Look at the headdress of Alat. And the bottom of the headdress looks like the Eiffel Tower. Now, in the first piece, we see the Eiffel Tower. And the Eiffel Tower is known as the Lady of Iron. And so here we have the female energy. But it's so funny how the Eiffel Tower looks like the phallus of Osiris, but it is female and male. So when we see the sun and the moon together in these symbols of Alat, it is not a symbol of the sun and the moon. It is a symbol that we were both male and female. So this Alat and Allah and Alat is really just telling us that we were in our original form Adam and Eve. We were androgynous because we were born in the moon, and the goddess of the moon was named Sin. So we were born in sin. So understanding this helps us to come to balance when it comes to, oh, we don't worship goddesses. Oh, we don't, whatever. It is not about male and female. This is about an energy and a download of truth that we all must step into. The black stone of Mecca is known as Kaaba, and Kaaba, it means cube. So it is associated with Metatron's cube, and it is about a protection. So we're going to talk about Stonehenge being a protection and about how stones speak as well. Our ancient form of communication was telepathic energy from stones. So tektite is a meteorite, and it's quite significant. And it seems to be associated with the ability to absorb energy and give energy, almost like telepathy or downloads. And people used to carve like hieroglyphs on the stones, but say they were the ancient form of telephones. The messages on top of the stone gave you an energy, and the Rosetta Stone seems to have been known as the message from Mars. So hieroglyphs on stone have a deeper meaning and a more significant meaning than we could have ever imagined, because we've been really ignorant to connecting with downloads within stones and upgrading our consciousness by connecting to those stones. So connecting with the energy of a Christ helps us to become the Christ and to get downloads from Christ. And they say the healing pyramid built by Ra was built by telepathic energy. So to connect with those energies isn't about worshiping outside of ourselves. It's simply about absorbing the energy and the telepathic messages emitting from it and stepping into an upgrade within ourselves and becoming better, going from black to white, going from impure to pure, going from ignorance to awakening and knowledge, and coming to peace and balance. Now, this number 8 that is etched in stone seems to have some significance to the Stone of Mecca, which is also in this art. And there are also etchings of aliens, and these aliens seem to have symbolisms on them that speak of obelisks and pyramids and even the Eiffel Tower emitting a frequency and an energy that is either detrimental or helpful to us as a collective. The moon seems to be a giant rock. What messages are coming from it, I wonder? So according to the piece, and here's some information about the god Sin from the moon that you really should get into and understand. Plato even talked about the moon and the androgynous ones coming from the moon, and the Sumerians talked about the androgynous ones coming from the moon, and notice the moon, the crescent moon, and the sun were as one, okay? The moon was cut from the sun as Adam was cut from Eve. And when I asked Spirit about whether this was truth or not, I was watching a show last night about Hugh Hefner, and he had a talking rock. And I was like, okay, that's all the symbol that I need, that rocks talk. So that was last night. So now here we are talking about worship. Worship isn't about giving your power away and hoping that something comes and protects you and saves you, and you just stay in your own ignorant shell. It is about connecting to an energy, upgrading and stepping into a power. So when we connect to the energy of Christ, we should become the Christ. When we connect with Allah, we should become Allah. We connect with that energy and we hear what it says and we follow it and we step into an awakening and step into our divinity and we burn away all things that are false. So becoming the Christ, even Christ said, if you believe me, you become as powerful as me. So connecting to these stones of Allah, or the cornerstone of Christ, or the Stone of Mecca helps us to hear what we have not been able to hear. So I encourage you to connect to these stones. Now I will tell you that the book that I read often is Carlos Castaneda. A shaman talks about stones as protecting our energy from things that steal from us. And he talks about the wind and how to use the wind and how to harness the wind for power and hiding from the wind using stones. So let's talk about this and what Don Juan has to say here. Don Juan is a shaman and speaking to his student about the power of wind. And he shows his student how stones protect the human being from taking the life force of human beings, and that the power of the wind was significant. Don Juan says, if it is convenient to him, the hunter hides from the power by covering himself. And covering himself is surrounding yourself with stones like Stonehenge and remaining motionless until the twilight is gone and the power has sealed him into its protection. So there's some kind of shamanic act with Stonehenge and with stones that gives us power, and it's called hunting for power, using elements like stone, water, trees, and outside forces. And it seems as if the wind is the enemy to the shaman. But the act of surrounding yourself with stones and being motionless when the wind comes around, he says, the protection of the power seals you like a cocoon. So it basically gives you more life, energy, and power so that you can astral travel and know the truth and receive downloads that makes us ignorant. Don Juan says that the art of a hunter is to become accessible. And becoming accessible is basically not giving your power away to fools or to people out of divine order, leaving the world behind and collecting personal power and downloads and information, connecting your energy to the divine or ascended masters so that you become the divine and the ascended master yourself and not be swallowed up by the energies of this world. Don Juan says, to be unavailable means that you deliberately avoid exhausting yourself and others. So you are not hungry and desperate and under the power of others. You actually become powerful. So your hand in your piece is emitting an energy toward a stone, and you have the all-seeing eye in your piece as well. You also have the crescent moon and the sun. And this reflects hearing the message from the all. And the all can receive and give messages. Once you become the Christ or the Allat, you become the stone, and you begin to emit these downloads just by the frequency of your energy when you go out in public. So you yourself become a stone. And becoming the stone or becoming the cornerstone is a process of awakening that takes diligence and takes work and takes emptying ourselves of belief and emotion. So we're going to also talk about the bird on your head and how it looks like the Vesica Pisces. You have the Vesica Pisces on your head, and your dad has the Vesica Pisces with the treasure box. And this is about becoming nothing, becoming invisible, and releasing all emotions and all beliefs in order to hear these downloads and in order to avoid being eaten by energies trying to find you. So this is a shamanic technique. And so I want you to notice the unicorn lost in the world of yesterday. All these energies that you are connecting with, your friend who committed suicide, your ex-husband, and the stone and the all-seeing eye and all of this stuff and the spirits of grief, your unicorn, this white energy is your higher self and your spirit, and you're sending your spirit into yesterday. And so you don't want to do that. You want to send your spirit to heaven to get downloads. So if you want to see heaven, find heaven, become part of the all energy, the all-seeing eye of a godly reality, you have to send your unicorn there. So we can't seek energies or think about energies of the past because they no longer exist, and those people have grown up into being completely different people. So seek first the kingdom of God, and then you'll get downloads from that kingdom, and those downloads is what worship is. Worship is simply connecting your energy to the energy of someone up in heaven or who has ascended, like Mars and becoming part of that energy and following that path so that we do not go back into yesterday. We go into the future and we grow into our power and we become powerful, and we're not supposed to go back to yesterday. And so this is a simple answer, but it's also a very significant answer from Allah to tell you that you are meant to connect with Allah and become the energy of Allah yourself. Now, you do have the Christ right next to you, and Christ is saying Allah and Christ are the same, the cornerstone. They have the same, pretty much the same energies and downloads when you connect with both of them. And they both reflect male and female, androgynous energy, because the sun and the moon were as one until the Father sacrificed the Son, which is the S-U-N of God. The owl reflects wisdom, but also reflects a dual reality, two worlds like the two eyes of the owl. You have the crescent moon and the sun on your stone headdress, your crown. You have a little puppy below your chin as well. I think this is significant to you in your life, and there happens to be 3 stones. The white wolf looking animal that was in Allah's piece is also in your piece, and you're also learning from the symbol of the white horse. And the white horse will push you to become white as snow and to force your spirit to let go of all things that are false and to step into truth, which is downloads that we receive from the stone. Maybe the stone of the moon, maybe the stone of Mecca, but from a stone, a cornerstone. If we notice the stone at 7 o'clock, it looks like the letter T. This is a symbol I've seen in Scientology. It represents the operating Satan, and it is energies that are false and implants. So there's something about that. Maybe you want to look into it, but it's not affecting you, but it has a communication to you. Basically, we live in a false world, and the truth of the world is that we can change timelines. And they say that the true world is actually a mirror world. And so the mirror world takes us away from falseness and gives us truth. And so here's your mirror world. You are standing there with the owl above your head and the 2 stones of the number 8, the 2 Christs and the 2 operating Satans and the star. And there's a statue in the center. This is a statue of stone. You have the Vesica Pisces, the eye of the needle, at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And so these are very significant truths. And you're facing the center. And this is actually the truth of being balanced and not polarized. And this is your piece as a mandala. I enjoyed your piece, and thank you so much for the energy and the knowledge that you share with all of us. Connect with the energy of Allah and Christ as you are meant to become them.